Calling to order this hearing or roundtable. This is a public roundtable being held by the Committee of the Whole. I'm Phil Mendelson, Chair of the Council and Chair of the Committee of the Whole. Today is Thursday, June 30th. The time is 1:20 in the afternoon. This hearing or roundtable is being conducted virtually. It's live via the Zoom video conference broadcast platform. It's also being streamed on the chairman's website, which is www.chairmanmendelson.com/live. It will be available on the council's website, which is www.dccouncil.us. The subject of today's hearing is consideration of 6 nominees to the Board of Industrial Trades. Nominations that were submitted by Mayor Bowser to the council for our consideration for our advice and consent. The resolutions are PR 24-769, which would reappoint Alvin D. Venson Sr. as a licensed refrigeration and air conditioning mechanic, member of the Board of Industrial Trades for a term to end June 26, 2025. PR 24-770, which would reappoint Brian Cooper as a licensed elevator contractor, member of the Board of Industrial Trades for a term to end June 26, 2025. PR 24-771, which would appoint Ms. LaVon Woods as an electrician licensed in the district to be a member of the Board of Industrial Trades for a term to end June 26, 2024. PR 24-772, which would reappoint Mr. Patrick Washington as a licensed elevator inspector, member of the Board of Industrial Trades for a term to end June 26, 2025. PR 24-773, which would reappoint Mr. Sean Ellis as a steam and other operating engineer licensed in the district, member of the Board of Industrial Trades for a term to end June 26, 2024. And PR 24-774, which would reappoint Ms. Tanya Lewis as an electrician licensed in the district to be a member of the Board of Industrial Trades for a term to end June 26, 2024. The purpose of this hearing or roundtable is to give the public an opportunity to comment on these individuals, or rather these nominations, and for the committee to hear whether there's support or opposition or comments, if any, from the public regarding these nominations. The record in this matter will be open for approximately 2 weeks. The record will close at 5 p.m. on Monday, July 11th, 2022. I believe the 11th is a Monday. We have a couple of witnesses before I call all of the nominees. And so if Larry Greenhill and Andre Allen could be admitted into whatever we call the room where they can participate. And Mr. Greenhill, you'll be first. Following you and Mr. Allen, I will then call the nominees.
How you doing, Councilman, Chairman Mendelson? Can you hear me?
Yes, you're Larry Greenhill Jr.
I'm Junior, yes. Yes, thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson. My name is Larry Greenhill Jr. I'm the Executive Director of Charles Mann Academy. Today, I'm testifying in support of Ms. LaVon Woods becoming a part of the Board of Industrial Trades. I've known Ms. Woods personally and professionally for over a decade. Throughout the years, Ms. Woods has always shared her passion, professionalism, and electrical knowledge as a DC journey worker electrician and a DC master electrician with me. Ms. Woods shares the same passion, professionalism, and electrical knowledge with the DC community as well, by helping Charles Mann Academy to refer, interview, and educate and train DC residents that want to become journey worker electricians and master electricians. Like Ms. Woods herself, through the Charles Mann Academy, currently Ms. Woods takes time out of her busy schedule throughout the week and weekends to serve as the treasurer of our Charles Mann Academy, as well as to mentor CMA electrical pre-apprentices and electrical apprentices by helping them to study for their journey worker exams and DC master electrical exams. In closing, there's no doubt in my mind that when you combine the vast electrical knowledge of the electrical industry with the years of electrical experience, Chairman Mendelson, in the electrical industry, Ms. Woods, along with her passion of the District of Columbia and DC residents, Ms. Woods would be an excellent choice to become an industrial trade board member. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Greenhill, and it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's turn to Andre Allen.
Good afternoon, Chairman. I'm Andre Allen. And this testimony is on behalf of the appointee, Mr. Vaughn Woods, as a board member on the District of Columbia Board of Industrial Trades. Recently, throughout my professional career, Ms. Woods has been instrumental with assisting me with enhancing my skills as an electrician by working with me as an apprentice and enrolling me into educational courses required to acquire a journey worker's license in the District of Columbia. Since working with her, my knowledge of the code has progressed exponentially. I've learned more of the National Electrical Code in the past 2 years than I have since 2000 when I first began my journey to become an electrician. She's helped me successfully navigate to the obscure pathway to becoming an electrician, and for that I'm grateful. I believe Ms. Woods, being a lifelong citizen of the District of Columbia, understands the plight of the community both from a resident and a small business owner's perspective. There's never been a time since I've known her that she hasn't been a mentor to an aspiring electrician. I believe Ms. Woods will bring fresh ideas and renewed insight to the board that will keep the electrical trade thriving in the District of Columbia while ensuring that the safety of its citizens is held at its highest regard by reducing adequately educated and experienced electricians. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your testimony. I do have a question that Mr. Greenhill may or may not be able to answer because your father was very involved with this. Do you know if the Board of Industrial Trades has been implementing the Electricians Equality Act that we adopted about 10 years ago? This was to require that the Board of Industrial Trades accept a certificate from a recognized trade organization certifying that an applicant has passed its required examination and is considered and classed by that organization as a journeyman electrician.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you for that question, Chairman, because myself and Ms. Woods, who's a nominee here today, were instrumental in advocating for the District of Columbia Electricians Equality Act. And so in our academy, we also utilize that, the Electricians Equality Act to help our DC residents and our electrical apprentices to take advantage of the waiver. So I know from a personal and, personally that we are utilizing the Electricians Equality Act of 2011. And, but I don't know like the numbers per se. And I'd like some follow-up possibly as well after this of how many people are taking advantage of that, of the waiver.
Okay, so it is your impression that the law is being followed?
Yes.
Okay. I may ask the nominees of that as well. I don't have any other questions for either of you. Thank you, though, for your testimony. Thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn now to the nominees. Alvin Venson, Senior, Brian Cooper, Levon Woods, Patrick Washington, Sean Ellis, and Tanya Lewis. So let me see while folks are being let in. Mr. Venson, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Why don't you begin?
All right, great. Excuse me. Good afternoon, Chairperson Millicent, members of the Committee of the Whole and the staff. Thank you for holding this hearing regarding my nomination to the Board of Industrial Trade. I would like to thank Mayor Bowser for the appointment. My name is Alvin David Vincent Sr., and I have lived in this wonderful city and have been married for 34 years and also raised my 3 children in the District of Columbia. More than 20 years ago, I had the opportunity to apply for a position as a member of the Industrial Trade Board, the Board of Industrial Trade. This afforded me the opportunity to serve my community in the trade that I love, refrigeration and air conditioning. My brother and I were both introduced into the refrigeration and air conditioning industry at the youthful age of 13. We were both reluctant at the time to learn, but as the years progressed, we both developed a passion for the industry. I have brought this same passion with me as I served on this wonderful board. During my time on the Industrial Trade Board, we have worked diligently with legal counsel to finalize asbestos rule for asbestos workers and supervisors for publications in the DC Register. The Industrial Trade Board made significant progress in amending this regulation of other trades and modifying all practice standards to include continuous education requirement. I have been instrumental in working with the Plumbing and Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Committee. My duties include reviewing applications, reviewing complaints, and making recommendations for actions of reprimand. During my tenure on the board, I also performed the duties of board chairman from 2017 to 2019. And during that time, the Board of Industrial Trade remained resolute in its efforts to collaborate with and gain feedback.
I can't tell. I think you've frozen. Mr. Venson, I don't know if you can hear me. I think you're frozen. That's what we do on Zoom is we freeze or unfreeze. Perhaps if you turn off your video, or you may have to log out and log back on. All right, we'll see if he logs back on. We're pausing here to see if we think he logged off, and we hope he's logging back on. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go to the next nominee, Brian Cooper, and in the hopes that Mr. Benson gets back on, and then we'll turn to him after we're done with Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper?
Yes. Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson, council members, and staff. Thank you for holding this hearing and providing me with the opportunity to testify regarding my reappointment to the Board of Industrial Trades. I would also like to thank Mayor Bowser for the nomination. I've been in the elevator business for 28 years, starting with Otis Elevator Company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as an account manager and moving to the Glover Park neighborhood of Washington, D.C. in 1999 to run Otis Elevator service sales operations in the downtown D.C. core. In 2001, I was promoted to Otis's new equipment sales department, selling new elevators throughout the metropolitan area. In 2002, I moved to Bermuda to run Otis Elevator Bermuda's operations. In 2005, my family returned to the district and I started Potomac Elevator Company to provide high quality elevator services for properties in Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area. Potomac Elevator Company has grown into a significant, highly regarded provider of elevators and elevator services in the D.C. and Baltimore metropolitan area over the last 17 years. I'm very interested and dedicated to the Board of Industrial Trades and its success. I feel strongly about the negative impact of unlicensed trade work on public safety and fair competition. My experience working with both a major multinational and for my own independent elevator company gives me a unique perspective from the management/ownership side of the elevator industry that is important for the Board of Industrial Trades. I strongly believe that my management and organizational skills will help move the board forward and set and achieve goals so that it is an effective and consequential body, providing a framework for safe and licensed trade work throughout the city. My goal for the Board of Industrial Trades is to see it progress in an efficient, effective, and organized way. The board now has a consistent quorum and a number of subcommittees have been formed to address reoccurring or specific board initiatives. One of the most important goals of the board is providing an avenue for trades and their workers to become licensed in a streamlined manner. To this end, the board is employing endorsement and reciprocity with other jurisdictions to expedite licensing while upholding the requirements of the district. In closing, I believe the Board of Industrial Trades has made great progress recently as it performs its important work of setting licensing standards and regulating unlicensed work throughout the District of Columbia. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to come before you today. I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. When were you first appointed to the board?
2016.
Okay, I'll have a few additional questions at the end. Mr. Benson, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm in Seattle, Washington, so I'm using hotel Wi-Fi.
Well, yell at the hotel. Where you were, if I can find, looking at your statement, you were midway through the second paragraph.
Yes, I can pick up from there.
Okay.
I have been instrumental in working with the Plumbing, Refrigeration, Air Conditioning Committee. My duties include reviewing applications, reviewing complaints, and making recommendations for actions or reprimand. During my tenure on the board, I also performed duties on the board chairman from 2017 to 2019. During that time, the Board of Industrial Trade remained resolute in its effort to collaborate with and gain feedback from industry partners. And we credit this engagement and constructive feedback in helping shape and address the needs of the district license. To that end, over the course of the FY 2018, we have taken the opportunity to meet with DCRA staff and officials, labor unions officials, the Metropolitan Police Department, and Legal Construction Task Force, and various other constituents. I will continue to pursue this mission if I have this honor to continue another term on this board. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Benson. I have a few questions at the end, but I did have two questions right now. When did you first start serving on the board?
I started serving on the board about 30 years ago.
So that means about 1992?
Yes.
So you've seen a few changes on the board.
That's correct. Yes, I have.
And you just said to that end, over the course of fiscal year 2018, we've taken the opportunity to meet with DCRA staff. Did you mean 2018 or did you mean something more recently?
2018, 2017 to 2019.
Okay. As I said, I have a few questions in a minute when we're done with each of you. Levon Woods.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, Chairman Mendelson and members of the Committee of the Whole. My name is Levon Woods, and I would like to thank Mayor Bowser for the nomination to serve as the Master Electrician licensed in the district for the Board of Industrial Trades. I'm a native Washingtonian and a lifelong resident of Ward 5. I'm a graduate of McKinley Tech High School in Northeast DC. After high school, I attended Lindenwood College in St. Charles, Missouri. I returned home after 1 year, though, to be close to my aging grandmother. When I returned home, I worked for the DC Department of Recreation and Parks, where I worked as a teenager during summers. After several years with DPR, I realized my true passion and began my apprenticeship with IBEW Local 26. After 5 years, I received my DC journeyman's license. I worked as a journeyman electrician in the union for 15 more years as a life safety foreman, estimator, and project manager. I later attained my DC electrical master's license and started an electrical contracting company called Alpha Power and Alarm, which is a DC certified business enterprise. I currently serve as president and designated master for the company. I wanted to be able to train and employ DC residents and show them that they have options for a pathway to the middle class if college wasn't what they wanted to pursue after high school. I also wanted to train and hire returning citizens. I believe that they have paid their debt to society and deserve another chance that many employers are not willing to give them. Also, currently, I'm also employed with WMATA, the Transit Authority, Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, as a low voltage power mechanic. I perform routine installations, maintenance, inspections, and repairs on all WMATA's low voltage electrical equipment. Just recently, I partnered with the Charles Mann Academy, a division of Charles Mann Enterprises. The Academy is a 501c3, a nonprofit organization focusing on working with disadvantaged individuals in Washington, D.C. who are interested in learning their electrical trade and building a career. The program features a journeyman electrician, apprenticeship with one-on-one guidance and support in all essential aspects of becoming an electrician, including support as a journeyman electrician, as well as hands-on experience under the watchful eye of an industry veteran. In addition, I'm an International Code Council certified property maintenance and housing inspector. I was a part of the DCRA resident inspector program, in which DCRA trained residents to perform housing, illegal construction, and vacant building inspections. I'm a competent and skilled master electrician with over 20 years of experience, and I'm truly eager to serve on this board because I love this city, and I'm a proud native Washingtonian. This is my way of giving back to a city that has given me so much. From the late, great Marion Berry, who provided me with my very first job, to the now Mayor Bowser, who has allowed me, as well as every other Washingtonian, a fair shot. I will bring to this board exceptional leadership, interpersonal and communication skills. I fully understand that this board was established to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the district, and by ensuring individuals engaged in these trades have the specialized skills and training required to perform such services for the public. I'm committed to using my skills to work with this board to achieve that mission. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today, and I welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Woods.
You're welcome.
Patrick Washington.
Good morning, Chairman Mendelson and other distinguished council members. I would like to thank you for holding this hearing, and I would like to thank the mayor for reappointing me to the Board of Industrial Trades. My name is Patrick Washington. I'm a DC native with 21 years of experience in the elevator industry. I'm an active member of the International Union of Elevator Constructors, Local 10, and a mechanic with TK Elevators and Escalators in College Park, Maryland. I have received my elevator mechanics license through the NEAP educational program. I'm highly knowledgeable and experienced in various aspects of the elevator field. New construction, modernization, maintenance, and troubleshooting are just a few of the areas that I experienced in the DC area. OSHA 30 construction safety, signal man and rigger 1, welding, forklift license, scaffold building, CPR, first aid training are some of my additional certifications and licenses that I possess. And volunteering my time for the board, I hope to ensure and identify the appropriate level of requirements the licensees must meet to be deemed knowledgeable, skilled, and experienced in their chosen field. It is my passion to establish protection, health, safety, and welfare of the public and construction industry. Moving forward, I hope that my professional and personal background can ensure licensees are certified to have acquired a certain level of knowledge, skill, and experience as the result of licensure requirement. My vision for the board is being responsible for drafting regulations, reviewing and approving application, administering examinations, providing educational offerings, and responding to certification requests by other boards and jurisdictions. I am committed to continuing the review and revisions as it relates to the board, with the goal of providing clear, comprehensive, and pertinent regulations for industry compliance and the best practices. The board regularly meets its quorum to hold official meetings, resulting in considerable improvements that have benefited the customers, residents, and industry licenses of District of Columbia. I aim to continue making significant strides in resolving consumer issues and successfully working with DCRA Permits Division. Thank you for letting me speak about my qualifications and desire to serve my community. I welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Sean Ellis.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, Chairman Mendelson, and members of the committee. Would like to thank you all for holding today's hearing and Mayor Bowser for reappointing me to the Board of Industrial Trades. My name is Sean Ellis, and I am a longtime resident of the District of Columbia. I began my career path in engineering in my youth. While in elementary school, I participated in programs such as the Saturday Academy program at the University of the District of Columbia, where I learned about assembling robots and transistor radios. I also attended the Higher Achievement Program, or HAP, which led to enhance my scholastic abilities. While in junior high school, I attended the Summer Youth Space Academy program at Jefferson Junior High School, which was geared towards educating and emphasizing the importance of science and technology in everyday life of young people. Finally, while attending high school, I entered the Math Science Initiative program at Howard University. During my final year in the MSI program, I received a Research Symposium Award. This award was given to the student who could best invent, market, promote, and distribute a product. During my high school years, I worked with my father on the weekends on various plumbing projects in residential and commercial settings. I expressed to people that it was not only easy, but rewarding for me to grasp and excel in the plumbing trade by mimicking my father's determination for perfection. After completing high school and attending some college courses, I immediately entered the construction field. I also became a certified cable installer, specializing in fiber optics, data lines, and coaxial cable. Realizing that engineering was my passion, I dedicated myself to attending trade school through the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 99, to learn the theory, principle, and practice behind all heating, cooling, and electrical applications. After receiving my DC third-class engineer license, I became the first assistant chief engineer hired at the Willard office building located in downtown Washington, DC. Working progressively in the engineering field, I acquired the knowledge of managing staff, contractors, renovation projects, and budgeting. I later went on to become the senior engineer of the IRS building in Washington, D.C., where I oversaw the high pressure central heating and cooling plant. This plant also supplied the old post office building with steam and condenser water. After leaving the IRS building, I was fortunate to become employed by Metro Transit as an engineer in the boiler chiller department. This department was responsible for all of the heating and cooling plants in the entire Metro system. Deciding to achieve one of my ultimate goals, I later went on to study and receive my DC First Class Steam Engineer license. I earned my stripes starting from the position of a laborer to a chief engineer. I subsequently joined the HSC Pediatric Center as the Director of Facilities. In addition to my responsibilities as the Director of Facilities, I was afforded the opportunity to contribute to keeping the hospital safe, operational, and clean, and promote a clean environment for staff, patients, and guests. Currently, I am a project manager for Children's National Hospital. Being a member of the board over the past couple of years has given me the opportunity to contribute positively to the community. As a licensed steam engineer, I take seriously my responsibility to ensure that the power plants throughout the city are operating safely, and I will continue to do so during my tenure. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. When did you first join the Board of Industrial Trades?
2019.
I do remember you testifying before us before.
Yes, sir.
Again. Tanya Lewis. Good afternoon. You are on mute. You're still on mute. If you could unmute yourself.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good day, Chairman Mendelson and members of the Committee of the Whole. My name is Tanya Lewis, and I would like to thank you for holding today's hearing. I also want to thank Mayor Bowser for nominating me and providing me the opportunity to continue to serve on the Board of Industrial Trades. I am a master electrician with more than 39 years of experience in government and private sectors, with demonstrated experience in the National Electrical Code, International Code Council, and International Building Code, and the District of Columbia Building Codes, DCMR Titles 12, 14, and 17. As a certified NCCER instructor, I am also proficient in electrical theory, methodologies, applications, systems, and compliance code regulations and requirements. Since 1997, I have been the owner, president, and master electrician of True Light Electrical Services, LLC, located in Ward 7 in Washington, D.C. I have provided a full range of electrical project management, and consultation services to the following district-based organizations, agencies, including but not limited to DC Deputy Mayor's Office for Planning and Economic Development, DC Department of General Services, Wesley Theological Seminary College, DC Housing Authority, DC Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, DC Public Schools, DC Office of Unified Communications, the Bennett Group, Turner Construction. Prior to starting True Light Electrical Services, I served in the following positions: Supervisor of HUD Housing Inspectors, Electrical Inspector and Supervisor for DCRA, Electrical Foreman, Estimator Project Manager for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Number 26, Electrical Board Member, DC Board of Industrial Trades, served as Master Electrician and Project Manager for Capital Renewal Projects at American University, NCCER certified electrical adjunct instructor for the University of the District of Columbia and Prince George's Community College. My professional licenses and certifications include NCCER instructor certification, master electrician for the District of Columbia, master electrician for the state of Maryland, and hazardous materials certification, along with, at one point, I had a journeyman's electrician's license before becoming a master electrician. I am a Washington, D.C. native and attended Our Lady Queen of Peace Catholic School, St. Patrick's Academy, All Girls Business Catholic High School, and I am a business of science major graduate at Southeastern University in the District of Columbia. In the District of Columbia, that used to be located in Southwest. I have received numerous professional awards in my field. For example, in 2014, I received the Department of General Services of appreciation for being one of the top 6 CBEs for True Light Electrical Services, as I received the DC Board of Industrial Trades Certificate of Appreciation in 2003 through 2012, and the DCRA Certificate of Appreciation in 2004 and 2005. My professional background and experience undergird my qualifications to continue to serve on the Board of Industrial Trades. I have demonstrated commitment to the electrical industry for more than 39 years of experience, starting as an electrical helper and then moving on to be an electrical apprentice, electrician, electrical foreman, master electrician, estimator, and project manager. As the first female electrical inspector, electrical supervisor for DCRA, and the first female to serve on the Board of Industrial Trades, I have contributed to breaking down gender barriers and encouraging great representation of women in the building trades. I continue to serve as a mentor for aspiring electricians, as a certified electrical instructor and business owner in the District of Columbia. I believe the building trades offer our young people tremendous opportunities for gainful employment and a pathway to the middle class and respected professional occupations, with the added benefit of contributing to redevelopment initiatives in their communities. In addition, my personal experiences have and continue to demonstrate a commitment to my city and community. For example, during my earlier years, I was a concert pianist and a singer, performing in classical musical recitals throughout the District of Columbia. This experience allowed me to appreciate the transformational power of good music in uplifting our communities. In later years, as business owner and professional, I taught and mentored students, serving as a positive role model for aspiring young tradesmen and women. Perhaps the most defining personal experience of my life occurred when I participated in an episode of the reality TV show Restaurant Impossible, the White House edition, and had an opportunity to meet the former First Lady Michelle Obama during that episode. I helped to transform and reconstruct 2 apartments and converted them into kitchen and dining areas for Horton's Kids, a nonprofit organization that provided meals to underprivileged children and cooking classes. I have and will continue to commit the time and personal and professional resources needed to help achieve the initiatives of the board and DCRA's strategic goals and objectives. During my tenure on the board, I was instrumental, along with my fellow board members, in spearheading reciprocity agreements with Maryland and Virginia, which allowed the district to accept licensed electricians from these states to serve in DC and help to discourage unlicensed activity. I am currently spearheading efforts to implement continuing education and training for electricians to help them stay abreast of new developments in the field, as well as changes in code and regulations. If confirmed to continue my board service, I plan to participate in regulatory reform initiatives, ensuring implementations of biannual continuing education for licensure tradesmen working and operating in the District of Columbia. Residential, commercial, industrial sites and construction, specifically in the business, professional, and occupational licensing and Board of Industrial Trade subcommittees. I believe my professional experience and expertise in these areas will contribute considerably to achieving the goals, objectives, and initiatives of these subcommittees. Thank you for the opportunity to testify before you today, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Ms. Lewis, when did you first join the Board of Industrial Trades?
2003.
And Mr. Washington, did I ask you that question?
No, first I'd like to apologize by not saying good afternoon, instead of saying good morning. I was first appointed to the board in 2016.
And Mr. Ellis, you had said 2019.
That is correct, sir.
So you would be the newbie, except Ms. Woods is a new appointment, so she'll actually be the newbie. I just have a few questions for you. I want to thank each of you for those of you who've been serving, which is 5 of you. Thank you for your service on the board. And a couple of you noted that over the years, the board has gotten better about meeting its quorum requirements, which is important. And several of you noted that you think the board has been doing some good stuff, which is important. So I want to thank you for that. Also want to thank you for the time you're taking today and the statements that you prepared. I do have a couple of questions that those of you who've done this before with me, you know that I ask these questions. For each of you, are you current in all of your district and federal obligations? That would be taxes, any other debts owed to the government. Mr. Venson?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
I have a payment plan for the District of Columbia.
That's fine.
Yes.
But you're current with that?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes, I'm current.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
And let's see, 5 of you have served on the board. Who is currently the chair?
I am.
Mr. Cooper, can you briefly describe how much time is involved? Not so much for you as chair, but as a board member, you might.
I think as a board member, if you think about the meeting is a couple of hours per month, and there are also maybe a couple of hours a month of committee meetings. So really, it's about a 4 to 6 hour a month commitment. Would you guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So for those of you who have been serving, are being reappointed, the question is, do you have the time to serve, to continue serving if reappointed? And for Ms. Woods, who's new, do you have the time to serve? So let me just ask in turn, Mr. Venson
Yes.
and Mr. Cooper
Yes, sir.
and Ms. Woods
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Washington,
No question. Yes.
Mr. Ellis
Yes.
and Ms. Lewis.
Yes.
And the third question that I always ask is about conflicts of interest. I don't know that there are any, but if there were, well, I'll ask the question this way. Do you know of any possible conflicts of interest that might come up in your serving? And if so, what would you do? Mr. Benson?
Well, I don't know of any as far as conflict of interest that I have current, and if I did had a conflict, I guess we would have to actually confront that with the board, or if there was a case that came up, and of course I accuse myself as far as that. So I don't have any conflict with the district government.
Okay. Mr. Cooper?
I do not have any conflicts that I know of. If I did have a conflict, I would bring it to the attention of the board council, and I would recuse myself as appropriate.
Thank you. Ms. Woods?
I don't have any conflict of interest, and if a conflict would come up, I would bring it to the board, and I will also recuse myself.
Thank you. Mr. Washington?
I don't have any conflict, and if I did, I would bring it before the board, and I would consider the public safety first and foremost.
Mr. Ellis?
I do not have any conflicts of interest, and if any conflicts of interest were to arise, I would notify the board and recuse myself.
Thank you. And Ms. Lewis?
No conflict of interest. And if anything was to come about, then I would inform the board and would most certainly recuse myself.
Thank you. So one issue that's important to me with every board nominees that come before me is how well members are working together. Would you, I'm not going to ask each of you individually, but if any of you want to volunteer, would you say that the board is working well together, that the board members are constructively engaged?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would say so. We communicate well, and we discuss topics together and come to a common solution and agreement on how to rectify, any situation or problem that may occur that's presented to the board.
Anyone disagree with that?
No, I do not disagree.
Mr. Cooper, since you're the chair, how would you characterize the board's working?
I think that this board does work very well together. There's an awful lot of teamwork and camaraderie on the board. We do have healthy, spirited discussions, but we typically can work out a framework that is agreeable and acceptable to everybody, and make recommendations based on those agreeable resolutions. So no, I do think that this board works very well together. I think everybody is in agreement as to what our goals are. And I think that we work hard to try to achieve those goals at each meeting.
Another issue that's of concern to me, I think there are a number of vacancies on the board. Am I correct about that?
There are a couple, that's right. I think that Levon is filling one of them, though.
Yes. I don't believe that Courtney Braxton, who's an asbestos worker, has been renominated by the mayor. And then
I think that's correct.
And then according to my notes, Michael Dalton's term expired a year ago, and the year before that, Richard Jackson, Konstantin Rudaskis,
Rodasaki, yes.
Kedar Abdul Shakur, and Terrence Hughes, that their terms all expired 2 years ago.
Yes, I believe that Levon is filling Constant Rodasaki's spot as an electrical contractor. I think that we are missing an elevator inspector
Yeah,
and a Michael Dalton, the
consumer member.
consumer member.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up with the mayor's office of appointments and ask what's going on with the these other seats, because it would be nice to have the
Oh,
board fully,
makes it easier to make a quorum.
yeah. My last question is a little bit off the record, but Ms. Woods, you testified that you had been you were part of the DCRA resident inspector program.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing to do with your appointment, but I have oversight over DCRA. How would you, are you still doing that? And regardless, how would you characterize the program?
Oh, the program was, I'm not still doing that, but the program was excellent. It afforded me to actually get my ICC certification because they provided you with a voucher and you can go get you get your certification. But it was a great experience. It definitely was a great experience, and I reckon I kind of miss it. But like I would say, if anyone wanted to, I guess, get their foot in the door, that would be a great opportunity. So.
Did it take up a lot of time, or was it as much time as you wanted to give it?
Well, it could take up a lot of time, but once you kind of got a few under your belt, then it was easier. It was easier because there's a lot of documentation that goes with it, and you have to be very thorough with it. So it could, but once you I've seen people just run through them and be very efficient at it. But yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but they require, I mean, you'd be very proficient. It's a great program though.
Well, my impression is that you would do as many days or hours or buildings as you wanted to do.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you can, but they will be assigned to you. So, they would be assigned to you. So it's not as many as you want to do, because sometimes, I mean, with a pool of people that they have, sometimes you may not get a lot, so.
Well,
There's quite a few of us.
Has nothing to do with these appointments today, but I was just curious about that.
Okay.
Let me check quickly with staff.
All right.
I do not have any other questions for you. I want to thank each of you again for your time and your service, your interest, and your willingness to continue serving. If there's any follow-up you want to do, contact my office. Christian Washington is the staff person. And for your benefit and anybody else who might want to be submitting comments, the record will close at 5 p.m. on July 11th. Our intent is, if we can get the reports done, and assuming there's not something completely unforeseen that I'm unaware of, that we would get the reports done and we would move before the full council on July 12th. So again, thank you. That's going to conclude this hearing or roundtable. The time is 2:14 in the afternoon.